All right, food has been eaten. It's good to see you, Michael. Let's go ahead and get started with more My Hero Academia. And it does appear that all the chapters are going on break. So yeah, let's get started. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another My Hero Academia chapter reaction and review. Now, in the last chapter, we cut back to the moment where Kurogiri, Shirakumo right now, as he is now, it cut to him teleporting both Present Mike and Aizawa over into a far off, like a landmass on their own. And Present Mike is ready to just like get rid of Kurogiri right then and there. But Aizawa appeals to him, saying like, this is still Shirakumo, and if he's in there, if we were able to get to him once, we can get to him again. So it cuts to Midoriya the moment that Aizawa showed up. And then we find out that Eri, amongst all the heroes that showed up with Aizawa through the gates of Kurogiri, through the gates of Shirakumo, we might as well call him Shirakumo at this point. Through the gates of Shirakumo, Aizawa shows up, sees Midoriya in his disheveled state, that includes his arms being blown completely off. He presses a horn into his shoulder, which turns out to be Eri's horn, which we find out that she, with the help of ectoplasm, basically ripped off her horn in order to use it so that Midoriya could get his arms back. And then it shows Midoriya, his arms rewinding, but there's not too much energy in it, so the rewinding of his arms going back to normal is taking a little bit of time. But it shows everyone else who is able to fight, because that one last member from Tartarus over at Takaba Arena, or Takaba Station, the heroes just show up, they immediately one-shot him, and then start to teleport everyone who's able to fight over to where Midoriya is, so they can finally take on All For One in the final bout. Like, this has got to be the last fight, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're here, and all these people have shown up to fight All For One, and All For One is just looking so pensively over the fact that these heroes will not stay down. So let's see what happens in the next chapter, chapter 421. But it starts with Kirishima going, "Funny bumping into you dudes here." "Right back at you," goes Shoji. Then we have Koda going,
"The police ask for anyone who can still fight."
Then it cuts to Mina.
"We heard Aizawa-sensei managed to win over Kurogiri."
Then it shows, who is that? That's not Kaminari. Who's that other individual? Is that, oh, that's Aoyama. That's Aoyama there. He's not saying anything. Then we got Hagakure, who's partially visible. She's normally either fully visible or not, but she's partially visible right here. Then we have Kaminari going, "When we saw our pal keeping up the good fight." Yeah, Yorozu.
"How could we possibly not take action?"
Suyu.
"Whatever it takes, as long as I'm still conscious."
Then Jiro.
"Already came this far for victory."
And then Mineta.
"Imagine not taking a real stand here." "Why even dream of being a hero then? What would be the point?"
And then it cuts to Midoriya, who has tears in his eyes as he's just looking back at all of his friends. And all right, back to it.
"Why even dream of being a hero then? What would be the point?"
And Midoriya is staring back at his teammates going,
"You guys."
My Hero Academia, chapter 421, we are here. And it cuts to everyone who is physically able to stand coming through the gates to take on All For One. I see members from Shiketsu High. I see all of Class 1B, 1A, or at least the ones who can stand. Everyone is there. Everyone, including Death Arms, and Gentle's in the back. Bruh, why is Gentle one of the cleanest looking people here? But everyone is here. And they all say, "We are here." Remember how All Might always entered in saying, "I am here." Now they're saying, "We are here." So now we have all who are able to fight and stand standing before All for One. And Midoriya's just looking around at his classmates, all these other heroes, all these big name heroes. I see Nejire in the back. All these people coming in to help out Midoriya. And this is just like Avengers Endgame. All the heroes against Thanos. But All for One is looking, going, an array of dull ashen flesh. As an integrated part of Tomura, I should have shattered to pieces along with him. However, when I heard the sound of Yoichi breaking into nothing, all color faded from my world. My obsession, gone. Only a gaping hole of loss remained, a chasm no attack could strike, which allowed me to evade the death blow. Izuku Midoriya, I now realize, as All for One starts to float into the air, and he goes, that tragedy engenders true strength. Don't you agree? As All for One's body just continues to morph into these different shapes. I see spear-like limbs. I see amalgamations of different quirks. Even his feet start to change into different things as well. He's literally, you know how Wesker fully changed his appearance when he took on a ton of Ouroboros into his body, and he was just like this amalgamation of just like flesh and parts and everything with metal stuck in it. Well, All for One has basically shaped his body through the use of all the quirks in his body, and he's just like this eldritch-looking creature now. Like, you still have his upper torso and where his legs should be and his head, but his arms are just flayed out into different contortions and extensions now. Then we have Cellophane going, yeah, I don't know. Unlike some of you, my life wasn't full of wild highs and... Oh, wait, let me see who's in this. Oh, wait, this is Seto. This is Seto going, yeah, I don't know. Unlike some of you, my life wasn't full of wild highs and tragic lows. All I had pushing me forward was life. Was like not wanting to fall behind on the next practical exam or whatever. And you know, it's been some tough times for him. The guy used to look all zonked out and empty. And then we see some gates. Then we see some gates open up right next to All for One, and it's Shoto and Endeavor. Anyone be better off not going through all of that miserable, tragic crap, as he tries to rope in All for One, and then it has Shoto and Endeavor using Flash Fire first, and they just shoot fire towards where All for One is, with the force being able to just break up the ground underneath them from the impact of the blow. Then we go back in time as we get a medical droid going, get over to Recovery Girl, quick! She's been tending to the injured all day. Healing anyone else might be beyond her at this point. And then it cuts to, I want to say that's Natsu going, don't stick around here. Mom and Fuyuki have had enough heat for one day. And get going. Assuming you got any strength left at all. And it shows Endeavor and Shoto doing their absolute best. Absolute best to take on All for One. And then Seto, he grabs both Shoto and Endeavor and pulls them away. And he goes, I mean, right? I mean, right? Those thoughts crossed my mind when I heard you beat Dubby. Then it cuts to Present Mike coming out of the gate going, thanks, bud. All able bodies are assembled. Today marks a turning point, folks! As Present Mike screams to the top of his lungs as All for One looks at them with all these tendrils of all these quirks making their way towards them. One last big job! And then it cuts to All for One, whose arm doesn't even look like a human arm anymore, just gets bundled up in tons of quirks all around each other. And it starts to center around this little black orb that's in front of it. Almost like a Truth Seeker orb from Naruto. Beholding a legion of wounded, desperate heroes, I feel nothing, only forlorn. You cut-rate heroes, mere afterthoughts compared to All Might. Then all of a sudden, All For One is hit by this unseen force. And this unseen force is, it's not even he's hit by it, he starts getting dragged because Hero 13 is here. And she's using her black hole to pretty much pull All For One in one direction as Gang Orca goes up right behind him. Dust to sweep away. And then it cuts to Burnin, who's there with some other heroes and some other people who can use powers going, divert his attack! As All For One is attacking everyone and they're diverting him.
Too fast! Deal with just one of his moves takes dozens of us! We ain't fighting on even terms!
And then it cuts to, I forget her name. She's, what is her name? Kendo? The girl that can enlarge and big in her hands.
Don't let him split us up! Fight back as a cohesive unit!
And then Midoriya is struggling to get up going, I have to join them. But he can't because he doesn't have any energy whatsoever. And then Aizawa gets to him and holds him and goes, you only made it out a few minutes ago. And up until you lost your arms, you were fighting non-stop. Those injuries haven't gone away. The damage from that brutal drawn-out battle. And before Aizawa can finish the sentence, Midoriya tells him, I gave up One For All. And this shocks Aizawa. It's gone? The quirks from each wielder. Yet, I might not have had it for long, but it's taken root in my quirkless self. So just like it was for All Might, the ember's still in me. Wow. So One For All was in Midoriya long enough for there to be embers. And he's gonna do exactly what All Might did and use the embers of One For All to fight with everyone. As long as I got that ember, All For One's got to deal with Midoriya. Medicine, bandages, and here. Can't have you getting cold. As he takes that very same shirt that one civilian took off of his back to give to Midoriya, and he puts it on Midoriya. And it shows Midoriya's arms, still rewinding slowly but surely, but, they put bandages over his arms to cover up what isn't getting fully healed at the moment. All courtesy of the refugees. The men's no brand Series 5 one size t-shirt. And the fact that Midoriya knows exactly what this shirt is, probably because it's All Might themed. But he goes, the men's no brand Series 5 one size t-shirt. That's so specific. And then it cuts to Aoyama, who's right there in front of Midoriya, who takes him by the hand going, let us run. We have need of your strength, just as you need ours. And this goes back to when Midoriya held out his hand and said, take my hand, Aoyama. And it's Aoyama who's holding out his hand for Midoriya this time. And Midoriya is just beset with emotion as everyone prepares to go take down All For One. And the crowd is inside going, you can do it! We all fight at your side. And there's people cheering him on. And then it cuts to Eri going, Deku! And then it cuts to Koda going, let's go, Midoriya! And then it even has Gran Torino, who's in the hospital, watching this go down, going, Deku. And then it cuts to Midoriya, who starts running. You can do it! You just say run. Literally just cue the just say run theme right here. And that's the end of chapter 421 of My Hero Academia. Binge, okay, hold on. Michael, Master Psycho, good to see you, Psycho. Andrew Parkinson, binge so many of your reactions this week. Glad to catch this one live. I'm happy you showed up. Oh, next week is the official start of My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 1. I haven't even watched Season 6. Yo, an All Might shirt. So here's the thing that just went down, ladies and gentlemen. We have all these people showing up, and they're already attacking All For One, who has basically just morphed Tomura's body into this giant, spiky, eldritch amalgamation of quirk extensions. and it has insane range. Like, he's high in the air and he's like this big, but they're all ebbing out of him. Yes, I used the word ebbing. It's all ebbing out of him, and no one can really get close. Sure, Endeavor and Shoto just showered him in fire, but given the uniqueness of Tomura's body at the moment, he still has high-speed regeneration. So now everyone's got to work together. Don't split up. Don't split up. Just fight as one big, massive, cohesive unit. And since Kurogiri, well, Shirakumo is teleporting everybody in, including people I didn't think were going to be joining the fight. I did not expect to see Shoto and Endeavor joining this fight as well. But everyone's joining in the fight. Everyone is here. This is the final push. This is the final push. And then we get told that even though Midoriya gave up One for All, it took root in him. So now, just like All Might during his final fight with All for One, Midoriya is going to be fighting with the embers of One for All in his final fight with All for One. So it's really come full circle. It's really come full circle. When All Might says, now it's your turn, this is that moment. Not him being like the new symbol of peace, but the moment where he would eventually have to, I guess, take down All for One for real. Now, at the time, it may seem like now it's your turn to become the new symbol of peace at the time. But now you can say, like, now it's your turn. Do what I did. Become the new symbol of peace. And now everyone is here to give Midoriya some help. If this isn't the biggest Avengers Endgame final battle against Thanos and the Black Order I've ever seen, that's what this is. This is a good chapter. This is a very good chapter. All for One looks terrifying. Of course he does. Of course he does. He's done playing around. The very goal of him being a villain was for him to reclaim the brother that he lost simply because, and the thing that gets me is how hypocritical All for One is. He wants his brother. And by his brother, he wants the quirk that belonged to his brother to come back to him because he sees his brother as his property. But he's also the very same person that killed his brother just because someone was trying to free him. So he's very hypocritical. But now he's in a state where his lifelong dream of getting his brother back through One for All, now that's gone. It's gone. The body that he basically groomed and helped convince the parents to conceive into the world, which is still incredibly messed up, by the way, how he was the one who told Tomura's parents to have another kid so he could then later groom that child to become the next symbol of evil, the very next All for One. And now we have Tomura's body, which is in full autopilot mode for All for One. It's damaged beyond repair. It's no longer all that hate, all those emotions that he guided Tomura into feeling over all this time, all these years. All of that is just basically gone. And not only that, but the decay quirk, which could have made quick work of every single person who's touched ground on the field right now, the decay quirk he had in his body, you know, the revised overhaul quirk that we found out was just like split in half and only the destructive side was put in Tomura, that's been destroyed as well. So that quirk got destroyed as soon as Midoriya broke through the mindscape of Tomura. I just noticed Class 1B and Shiketsu. Yeah, you showed up after I acknowledged that it was Shiketsu there. So now All for One is just done. He's just, his whole purpose for going as hard as he did as a villain, now it's gone. It's gone. So now he's all like, the color has faded from my world. There's literally no other thing to go for in life except for just complete world domination, but his heart ain't in it. He was so energetic and so happy with the thought that he could claim One for All for himself and rule over the entire world, where everything that existed in the world would be there for his benefit, to serve him. Everything would belong to him. And now all that is left is just for him to just do world domination. But he doesn't share the same level of energy that he did before. Because now all of his best laid plans have just been completely and utterly shattered. Autopilot is a good way to put it. He was the same as a really young kid before seeing the comic book. Yeah. Well, actually, he was the same as a really young kid before seeing the comic book. He was already, even from birth, he had the mindset of everything belongs to him. That's how he was from birth. He took his mother's power, which was one of the first, I want to say the first instant of quirks in the entire history of MHA. The spear-like limbs. That is his mother's quirk. And not only that, but he took all the nutrients when he was, before he was even born, which caused his brother Yoichi to be, born weaker than him. But all his entire life, All For One has seen everything as belonging to him. Even his own brother. He didn't see him as his brother. He saw him as a possession to own. If you didn't side with him, you were killed. If you did not give him what he wanted, if you ignored him, if you didn't listen to him at all, if you didn't do anything that benefited him, you were killed. And that's been his life. That's basically been his life. Even the person that got the glowing baby who would later turn into an adult and gather a following behind him, he just went, yeah, okay, so you have stuff, but everything belongs to me, so you can't have it. He went and killed him, took his glowing power, which we saw during his last few moments he started glowing, and just started going down this path of my brother wants to be like a hero, but I want to be like the villain, because the villain gets everything that they want. And that's been his driving point this entire time. So later on in life, when he gives his brother his quirk, he now sees it like, okay, now you owe me. Now I own you. So when what is his name? Not Bruce. Not N. Man, I forgot the guy's name. I forgot the second's name. I forgot the second user of One For All's name. But when he broke Yoichi out, and when they were escaping, All For One couldn't understand, why are you leaving? I've given you everything. If I can't have you, no one can. Then proceeds to kill his brother. So going forward, kudo. Thank you, Andrew. So he kills his brother, and all his life he just becomes this person of give and take. But at the end of the day, he's taking the free will from everyone that he gives stuff to. So anytime he gives a quirk to a person, he now owns that person. That has always been his mindset. If I do something for you, I own you because I did something for you. And no one could buck up against him simply because he was just that strong. He was just that terrifying. And he reveled in it. For many years, he reveled in it until he came across users of One For All who were the one people that opposed him. And now the real big reason of why he kept going up against these users of One For All is simply because they had the quirk that belonged to his brother. And in essence, his brother. He desired that. But they kept resisting him, which, unsurprisingly, got on his nerves, to the point where he would do everything he could to kill every single successor of One For All. However, every predecessor of One For All would continuously pass on their quirk to another individual, prolonging the chase for All For One to go after the quirk until it ended up with Midoriya. Now, fast forward many years until we're here at Midoriya. He's orchestrated so many events, created so many plans, created so many contingencies just in case his prior plans don't actually work. The man was incredibly thorough. He gained so many quirks that made it very impossible, pretty much impossible for you to lie to him, to deceive him, unless you're smart, and all these different types of powers that made only users of One For All capable of even standing toe-to-toe with him. So fast forward all this, grooms young Tomura, literally as a child, orchestrating events that would make it so that Tomura would just see the world with just hatred in his eyes, with the intent and purpose of turning this child into his brand new vessel, in the hopes that he could use this vessel to get One For All and thus his brother back. So all the events of My Hero Academia transpire. He fights All Might, gets defeated by All Might, gets imprisoned in Tartarus, escapes Tartarus, all this leading up to this one moment, up until Tomura is right there with Midoriya, and Midoriya is finally able to break through his mindscape, and thus release a lot of tension, release a lot of hatred, release the stronghold that Tomura put All For One under when All For One tried to take over his body many, many moons ago. So now we're here at a point where Not only have All For One's best laid plans been laid bare, but also been rendered invalid, he is left with nothing. At the end of his career, his original body died and rewound out of existence. That's done. Now we have All For One in the body of Tomura, pretty much taking full control because Tomura's hatred and his emotions have been shaken up for the worse. Well, for the better for him, but much to his detriment, it allowed All For One to take control again. Now we have an All For One who's in full control of Tomura's body because Tomura's shackles that he was chained under are gone now. But now One For All is no longer is gone. He can't get his brother back the same way he thought he would. His whole goal of doing everything he's doing right now is finished. And now he's left a mere shell of a villain that he used to be, where all he sees is just the very individuals that drove him to the point where not only can he no longer get his hands on his brother, but the very quirk he tried to get his hands on from the very beginning is also gone. And even a quirk that he gave to Tomura in order to wreak havoc and destruction and death across the world, that's gone too. So all For One has left is just world domination, and that is boring to him. After the full century he's been active as a villain, the sheer terror that he's enacted in everyone, crept up in everyone feeling we can't do anything because this man is just that strong. Where's All Might? Now we have an All For One who has absolutely nothing except to just kill the heroes who are opposing him. But his drive is gone. And with his drive gone, all he wants to do is just eradicate all the heroes that are surrounding him and just move on to world domination. But everything has become tiresome for him. The very essence of what makes him who he was, the very reason for him doing what he's doing now, that's gone. His brother, gone. Decay Quirk, gone. The body he's built up and groomed in order to be the perfect vessel for him to be the supreme being on the earth so he could rule over the earth, that's messed up beyond repair. Exactly as you say, Andrew, his three plans were One For All, New Order, and then the world. But after failing the first two, it's boring now. Yeah, One For All has basically been split so far that he can't use One For All at all, pretty much. And New Order was destroyed because of Star and Stripe making a New Order so that it would destroy itself inside of Tomura's body. So all that's left is world domination. And at the end of the day, that's got to be the most boring thing for him right now. Just simple world domination. Because if he wanted to rule over the entire world, he could. But it would be boring just to take it over. Now, that's all he has left. And that has got to be the most mundane thing for him to do. Because when he got fully in control of Tomura's body again, he says, like, this body is damaged beyond repair, decay is gone, and One For All is gone, all I have left is world domination. And you could just hear the boredom in his voice. It's all like, well, all I got left is world domination. It's not fun, but I might as well just go through with it. He's lost the drive that guided him this entire time. So now we're dealing with and I said all that whole long spiel. Apologies if it's a too long, didn't read. But I said all that to say this. Now we're dealing with an All For One who is just done with everything. He's just completely tired of his plans being messed up, of opposition rising up. Still can't fully comprehend why the heroes keep going up against him, even though he's doing his best to try and play mind games. And I've said this during the entirety of me covering this entire series. All For One has always been good at playing mind games. But now I wouldn't even say he's fully invested in doing mind games against these heroes. He's just berating them at this point. He's not manipulating anybody anymore. He's just berating them. He's all like, you hero. Matter of fact, let me just read what he said. Let me just hear what he said. Let me go back here. Beholding a legion of wounded, desperate heroes, I feel nothing, only forlorn. He feels nothing fighting them. No excitement, no anticipation of his victory. Nothing. Just only forlorn. Because that's all he has left. Is just feeling bored. Malaise, even. That's all For One has. While everyone is fighting for their lives, All For One is bored with everything. Because he lost the one thing that he wanted to get his hands on. So now he no longer feels like a true purpose in life. I'm assuming. Because that's just how he's behaving. Nothing. He just feels nothing. And now he's just gonna try and kill everyone with nothing in his soul. Just that feeling of emptiness. Which is probably the last thing he thought he'd ever feel trying to enact this plan and hope it succeeds. But the big thing to take away from this is that while this is going on, everyone is fighting desperately to take him on. He's fighting everyone, everyone's rushing him. It's literally all the Avengers rushing towards Thanos. And they're all trying to fight him, trying to take him down. And then Midoriya joins in after being propped up and bandaged and medicine, and now Yama guiding him as Midoriya is saying, like, hey, I still got the embers of One For All in me. And you can even see the spark of him using full cowling a little bit. You can see the streaks coming off of his pant leg, and you can see it coming out of his hair. So the embers of One For All are still there. Ladies and gentlemen, I said all For One really wanted his brother back, and now that he doesn't have him, there's nothing else. There's nothing else of value in the world. The whole purpose of him becoming a villain and taking on all the members of One For all the successors, that was his whole drive. That drive is gone now. He has nothing. And he's just feels nothing about it. I'm honestly surprised Shoto and Endeavor jumped in. I thought all the other major characters were out for the count. I thought they were as well. I was surprised when I saw Endeavor and Shoto coming through the gate and just blasting All For One with fire from both sides. That's what I honestly thought. So it was a shock to me seeing them still moving, considering how much harm Endeavor came to, especially when he was holding on to Dabi and to keep Dabi from exploding and nuking the entire area and then like 5 kilometers. I think it was 5 kilometers. You would think Endeavor would be down and it'd be just Shoto. But no, father and son show up. Which we gotta talk about their stamina and resilience. For them to endure the burning heat from Dabi, and then the period of time it takes for them to rest up, and then they're just being thrust into a battle with the final boss of this entire series. I'm surprised. I'm surprised seeing Hero 13. I'm surprised seeing 13 showing up using your black hole. I'm seeing Gang Orca, everyone, Shiketsu High, Class 1A, Class 1B, all the different heroes that we saw during the festival, the Wild Dog or Mad Dog, all these, even Gentle and Death Arm showing up. So tons of people showing up in order to give a hand to Midoriya. Deku has to be the one to beat All For One with his last smash. Yeah, that final United States of Smash. That final punch, that final blow that is going to KO and get rid of All For One forever and bring this entire war to an end. This has been a war. This has been a serious war. I've seen wars before in different series and different manga, and it's just been like one big knockdown, drag out of one after another. But this has been an incredibly long war. Hound Dog, I believe his name is. Thank you. I think it's Hound Dog. I remember names, and at the same time, I don't remember because there are so many of them, especially the ones I remember the most. But ladies and gentlemen, Gentle was running at the front of the pack when Mike shouted. I love that, man. Look, Gentle is amazing. If I go back, yeah, he's in front. While everyone is going, he's the one in front. And we got Hound Dog there. We got Gang Orca. Everyone is going full tilt, and I think Gentle's using like his air cushion quirk to get ahead. But yeah. School is over after all of this. Look, I'm just gonna say that everyone graduates after surviving a fight with All for One at the end of the day. Y'all get full marks, full diplomas. Y'all good. Y'all graduated with honors. Y'all are good. Y'all ain't got to worry about it. We're gonna put you through college if you want to go through college. But yeah. Nonetheless, is UA technically a college? Would it double as a college? I don't know. Question for another time. But we have now fully entered into. I said that the next moment was going to be the last moment with All for One, but I fully feel like with everyone rushing towards All for One, the end of this fight is going to be the end of everything. And whether or not we get an epilogue after all is said and done, I feel like we are. But we are now in the final battle, the final big moment of My Hero. We are running straight towards into it. And we're going on break after this chapter 2. Ain't that lovely? But we are now in the final moments of My Hero Academia's final act. As far as a final foe, final obstacle goes, this is the last fight. I know I said this like 2 streams ago. I think it was like 420. I think it was 420 when I said it, but this is really it. I want a beefy epilogue. I don't want to say goodbye to this cast just yet. I know, but it was gonna reach an end at some point. To think that we are looking at the final moments of My Hero Academia. That's something to me. People say we probably have 20 chapters left. Maybe. Gotta incorporate the final fight with All for One, the aftermath, everyone resting, and then the epilogue, and then the final chapter. So it could be 20, but there's no way to know. All I know is that we're going on break next Sunday for the next chapter, next chapter of My Hero Academia. But this was great. Chapter 421. We are here. This was a great chapter. We had a wonderful chapter of One Piece. It was wonderful, but it's now like, oh, that's what's about to happen, or that's what's going on. So we have that for One Piece. A fantastic chapter of everyone coming together to take on All for One. Despite how tired, how broken, some of them injured in ways that they should be getting some medical attention. Yet everyone is pushing all of their own concerns aside in order to take down the final obstacle that threatens the rest of the world. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the next chapter is going to hold, but we are witnessing the end of My Hero Academia. We are leading up to it. How y'all feel? Deku is my second favorite main character. Yeah, he's mine as well. Dude born quirkless, given a power that can beat basically anybody. And yet he never, for a single second, got a streak of cockiness in his head. Except for the moment where he was trying to find the members of Tartarus in order to find where All for One was, and he was just ignoring his friends, and they had to beat some sense into him. It took Bakugo to resonate with him in order to get him out of that, tunnel vision state. But he's one of my favorite main characters out of any series I've read thus far. Like there's so many good examples of why he's such a wonderful character. It feels weird, like I don't know how to feel. I know. It's like the same way you feel when you find out that Attack on Titan is over. Years of our life dedicated to getting into this series, and now we're watching we're starting to see its final moments. Your first favorite is Jinwoo? Oh yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites, if not my top favorite. Simply because of who he is as a character. But another conversation for another time. But I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen. It's the heroes versus the one final villain. With that, though, I wouldn't say that was cockiness. He was more like trying to push them away than being cocky. Yeah, I was saying more so like and that's the reason why I said tunnel visioned more so than being cocky. Him being tunnel visioned and steadfast on trying to find All for One and not trying to get everyone involved, even if it means pushing them away. So I would say it was more like that. He was just being, kind of narrow-minded at that moment, thinking that only he was capable of taking down all the members of Tartarus and then getting to All for One as well. So it was a moment of narrow-mindedness and tunnel vision. So it was better for that. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with this reaction. We got one more to go, which is Jujutsu Kaisen, and I can't wait to read that one. So I hope to see you guys over on that stream as well. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. But everyone, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, even subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, on to Jujutsu Kaisen.